Hi, this is Bruce Pollock from Range Radio, live from the new Ranch and Riata Roadhouse with our very special guest, Carlene Carter, who happens to live right here in the Santa Ynez Valley, and also one of our most favorite people that always joins us daily or weekly right here at the Roadhouse. Welcome, Carlene Carter, to Range Radio.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I was #1 on your guest list.
You are the very
Wow.
first one, but you also...
I think I was the only one you had my personal phone number, though. I'm a third-generation member of the Carter family, and which means that my grandmother was Maybelle Carter.
Wow.
And my mom was June. I was like brought up to be all about the writing of songs and stuff, and also about being a Carter girl and to carry on the legacy. It's like, when we're all gone, you've got to do this. You've got to carry the song on. So it's like, oh, I've got my mind on the Monkees and Dave Clark 5 when I'm 12 years old.
But you've been as much a songwriter as you are a singer.
Yes, I have. Actually, I've been fortunate in that, and I owe that to my mom, because she said, if you can just ever write one song that you really love, it's probably going to be a hit. And it turned out to be.
Let's talk about your father's side.
My real daddy.
Yeah.
My real daddy, my cowboy daddy. My Ranch and Riata fan daddy.
Right.
Okay, that would be Carl Smith.
Right.
Yeah. And
The legendary.
The legendary. Yeah. He always he taught me some cool things about music, but very few. One of the things was, he said, never say this is my last album, always say this is my most recent release. You know, and he taught me little things like that. But he really had had enough, and he decided he wanted to be a real cowboy. And he retired from country music the year that I started my career in '78.
And what did he do?
He became a cutting horse guy.
Wow.
He always said, though, country music afforded me the life I always wanted, which was to be a cowboy. My mom was June. Well, she married Johnny Cash when I was 12, but he was in our life, you know, before that. She started working with him when I was 6 years old. They became an item, I think probably before I even knew, but there was an item going on. You know, when I was 10 is when she announced that they were in love.
I think you were always smart at 10.
Oh, honey, I had a good idea what was going on. One of my favorite stories, which I haven't shared that much, is that when Mama decided to marry John, he'd asked her on the stage in Canada to marry him. Well, she came home and she said,
Live.
Yeah, live on stage. And, you know, we always knew that was going to happen, but we just didn't quite get it. That meant we had to move.
Right.
So me and my little sister Rosie, we go in the bathroom. Mama says, okay, come in here, and I got to talk to you. And she said, John and I are we want to get married, but only if it's okay with you girls. Which they would have got married anyway.
Sure.
But it was sweet, you know, and she said that. So me and Rosie went in the bathroom of our house and had this little conference, and we said, well, Mama's really happy, and we love him, so okay. And so we go out and say, it's okay for you to get married.
How did your life...
Do you honestly think, though, that they would not have gotten married?
How did your life change after that?
Hugely. In the sense of, we grew up on this little farm that we had that Daddy had, you know, Mama had got when they got divorced, and it's the house that I was brought up in. And we mowed every inch of that grass, and it was before we had weed eaters, and we weed eated all of the fence rows and all that stuff. Well, Mom married John, and suddenly we couldn't do that. We didn't know why we couldn't do that, except there was 1,000 people outside our house every day. When we moved to they were the fans that came, and we weren't scared of them or nothing. It's just like Mom said, you can't be out there pushing the mower.
Were they friends?
Daddy and John?
Carl,
okay, let's say no
Carl
more. Not particularly. No, Mama liked the idea that Carl would turn red in the face, which was not true. He really didn't, but she kind of liked the idea that he was still upset that she was married to someone other than her.
So she started with the sisters.
Yeah, I started out with Roseanne Cash, and my sister Rosie.
Unbelievable.
We went and started playing Vegas with them, you know,
Wow.
and John would put us out there, and it was like, this is my daughter Roseanne, this is my daughter Rosie, this is my daughter Carlene. And basically we were just kind of thrown to the wolves. It could have ended horribly.
Yes.
But the crowd loved him so much that we learned how to sing in front of a lot of people.
Sure. 1990.
Right. I said I was country.
Said you were country. I
Yeah.
fell in love.
Yeah.
And then what happened? What came next?
Well, I just, I got onto the train of going on the road with every hat act that there was.
What's that hat?
Hat acts are all the big guys. We're talking about Alan Jackson, Garth Brooks, George Strait. I was the token chick singer that opened the shows.
For them.
Because I had a high energy act. It was hard for an opening act to open up for these mega guys.
Who was your favorite? Can you say that?
I loved George Strait. He was awesome. I'm not, saying anything bad about anybody else, but he was so sweet to me and nice. And Garth was so generous of spirit. I worked with the Sleep at the Wheel, which you're playing here.
Did you open for Sleep with the Wheel?
Yeah,
Ever?
of course I opened for them.
I think Ray knows that you're going to be here.
Oh
tonight,
no,
too.
Ray's my
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
Ray's the taller version of me.
Let's fast forward to today. You live in San Ynez.
Yeah.
You're still writing songs.
Yeah.
You're still performing.
This is the first time I've ever done an album that I didn't write the songs on it. And I'm doing an album of all the Carter family songs that I particularly loved.
How great is that?
And it's perfect because I was way more nervous about that than doing anything I've ever done. Anything.
So this is somewhat of a family tribute.
It is my family tribute, and I honestly think there's about 3 records of it to come. I'm hoping, and I'll say this because I believe it to be coming true, is Willie Nelson and me are doing a duet. And
On this new album?
on this new album, the challenge for me was to make the songs that I wish I had written. I wish I'd written all of them. But I suddenly realized they're my songs. This is my legacy. I need to carry this on. And that's what my mother's dying proclamation to me, and my grandmother's, even though they weren't like on the day they died or anything, it was like, you're supposed to carry this on. You're supposed to keep the music alive
Right.
and carry it on. And that is my job.
Is that a burden or is that a joy?
It's not a burden. It's a complete honor.
Yeah.
It's a complete honor. And I want to cry.
No, that's okay.
I won't cry.
You're going to be playing at the Roadhouse.
I hope
We
so.
haven't set our date yet.
Okay, we'll set the date.
Tell us about you live here in San Ynez.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to live here in the West?
Well, I came
And your thoughts on the West and living in the
Well,
West?
I've lived in California a large portion of my life. And you're listening to Carlene Carter and Bruce Pollock at rangeradio.com.
Thank you, Carlene.
Hear that?